Hi, David. My name is Colin. I appreciate you coming in and meeting with me today. Come in and take a seat. Yeah, tell me about yourself. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. Thanks, Colin. I'm good. You know, I feel proud of myself for calling, and
Yeah,
I feel like I made the right choice to call. Yeah, I just kind of feel like I don't know. I feel kind of blah, I guess I'll say.
sure. Yeah, I appreciate you taking the time and to actually meet with me and come in and talk. And I appreciate you also completing all that paperwork. I know paperwork is never fun, but it definitely helps me get a better idea of, where you're at before we come in. But what I would like to ask you now is kind of what in your own words. Well, actually, before we get into what led you to come see me, tell me just about yourself. Where'd you grow up? Do you have any like do you have a family? What do you do for work?
Mhm.
Tell me, help me
Yeah,
get to
yeah,
know David better.
cool. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I've lived in Utah my whole life. Uh, I'm in my mid 50s. Married to Kate, Caitlin, or so I've been married for 36 years. We have three beautiful boys. I'm a high school principal, so I've spent most of my professional life working in school administration, and yeah, I really enjoy that. Personally, I'm a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
Mhm.
It's been my lifelong you know faith,
Sure.
and in that space, I am like the leader of my congregation. We
Okay.
call that a bishop.
Mhm.
So uh, I spend probably as much time at my church as I do at my school. So
Wow.
between school and church, I'm not home as much as I would like.
Mhm.
My three sons are all over 20 years old now. I have one son still at home, but he's not like at home a lot. He's 22, Carson. Um, he's not at home a lot. So really, it's just me and Kate at the house. And so I find myself spending a lot of time at school, spending a lot of
Mhm.
time at church.
Sure.
Um, yeah, and
Sounds like
that's
there's
kind
a
of me.
lot of potential for a lot of stress, is what I'm gathering, between not just being a principal, but also it sounds like you have a quite a great deal of responsibilities in your religion and in your congregation. So a lot of
Yeah,
stress
that's
there.
fair.
Can I ask about your relationship with your spouse? Kate was her name, right?
Yeah, Kate. Yeah. Uh,
Tell me about you and Kate. You've been married for, you said 36 years. That's a long time.
yeah, long time, long time. Kate and I, we have we have like an agreement. We have like kind of a relationship that isn't super personally connected.
Hmm.
Um, we spent a lot more time together when our boys were younger,
Okay.
but as our children got older, Kate and I didn't have as much to really communicate about. Um,
Hmm.
we'd watch a few shows, but she would typically read her books or work on some kind of a project,
Hmm.
and not a huge amount of personal connection there. But yeah, I'm as happy as I think anybody is.
Okay. Gotcha. That's good for me to know. Thanks for sharing that. Um, Tell me about your it sounds like religion is something that's pretty important to you.
Yeah,
And you just to get a little bit of a better picture, you said you're a leader of your congregation. What was that called again? Can you help remind me?
yeah, thank you. Yeah, bishop.
A bishop.
Uh,
Okay. Okay.
yeah,
So
it
this
would be
is
like similar to like a preacher or a priest.
right.
Like
You
so,
said
I'm like the
LDS. Okay. I'm familiar with That's the Mormon church, correct?
yeah, that's
Gotcha.
exactly
Okay.
right.
Sorry. Or that's the nickname Mormon. I know LDS is the a little bit more
Yeah,
official.
I'm fine. We've gone by a bunch of names, and yeah,
Okay.
but yeah, I don't preach in the sense that like a preacher would or a priest would.
Mhm.
Our services are like member led, but like
Okay.
I like oversee the whole congregation. There's about
Gotcha.
500 people in my ward,
Wow.
and of those 500, I regularly meet with like 200 plus of them.
Sure. And
Plus the youth, I'm really active with the youth in our ward. Like to go out on scout camps and like to go out on
sure.
camping trips and things like
Okay.
that with the young men and the young women.
Sounds like this is something that's really important to you, this role of being a bishop.
I would say that it is. like the biggest piece of my identity, honestly. I feel like I'm more myself when I'm at church or at a
Okay.
function.
Sure.
It's really when I'm not doing that where I'm sort of recognizing that I'm not sure who Dave is
Sure.
without those pieces.
Okay. I appreciate you sharing that with me. I mean, I'm if it's okay, I would like to ask about those feelings that you're having when you're not, fulfilling that role as a bishop. Tell me a little bit more about those feelings you've been having.
Yeah, I feel like my personal life is just like a big mess.
Hmm.
My oldest son, okay, it's kind of hard to talk about, but that's
Okay.
why I'm here, and because things are
Well,
getting
it's
hard.
okay. And we'll go at whatever pace you're ready. I mean, there's no need to rush. We're just here to take your time and talk and
Yeah,
go
my
whenever you're ready.
yeah, my oldest son, Tyler, um, he was a missionary. You probably have seen the Mormons,
Hmm.
name tags, bicycles.
Hmm.
Uh, anyway, he was a missionary, and when he came home from his mission, he came out as gay,
Hmm.
and that was a real shock to me.
Hmm. Why was that shock to
That
you?
I felt like I had taught him enough of the gospel of Jesus Christ that same sex attraction is a test, and um, that I myself have had my whole life. And of course, I didn't tell my sons this,
Right.
um,
I'm sorry.
but
I don't mean to interrupt. You also have same-sex attraction. Is that what I just want to make sure I'm understanding you correctly.
right, right,
Okay.
um, yeah. So yeah, my whole life I've struggled with same sex attraction,
Okay. Okay.
which is why I was kind of a little back and forth when you asked about my marriage.
Mhm.
Um, Kate and I, we really view sex with each other as for procreation. And
Mhm.
after we had our three boys, we really aren't physically intimate at all.
Okay.
And yeah, I view same-sex attraction from the lens of a test from my heavenly Father.
Okay.
My goal in life is to endure
Okay.
temptations of all kinds, whether
Okay.
that's physical or for any kind of substance or behavioral. And so when I didn't tell my sons, that I had personally been struggling with same-sex attraction and had always been shouldering that and enduring that.
Yeah.
But I felt like I was teaching them the gospel in a way that taught them that obedience, that this life is a test and that obedience is what they needed to do, even when it's hard. And I felt like I had taught them that. And so when my son left religion, it just, well, when he came out as gay, he left the LDS church.
Mhm.
And I felt like the only thing that I could do was just cut him off. Um,
Mhm.
I told our two younger sons that they should cease having a relationship with him. I
Mhm.
told my wife, that was my decision, and she agreed, I think, but she didn't really say anything. She just
Mhm.
like she just went like blank about it, and then like she never talks about Tyler
Mhm.
ever. And if I ever bring up Tyler, because I was the one who cut him off, if I ever bring up Tyler, she will like go mute,
Mhm.
pretend like I'm not in the room, and she'll like walk away.
Mhm.
Um, my middle son doesn't have a relationship with Tyler. My son Carson, who is at home, he does. He has been close with Tyler.
Mhm.
And sorry, I feel like I'm rambling.
No, it's okay.
But in about the last like 2 years, kind of following Carson's direction and recognizing just that like I didn't feel like I was really
Yeah.
happy.
Yeah.
I decided to reach out to Tyler. I sent him an email,
Okay.
and thankfully he messaged back really quickly.
Good.
And um, when I told Kate that I'd messaged Tyler, she did this thing where I was talking to her and she was looking at me, and then suddenly she just like was looking through me
Gotcha.
and turned and left the room. And I was like, "Hey, Kate," and I called after her, and she just ignored me. And
Hmm.
that's kind of been the state of our relationship for like the last 2 years.
Wow. That must be difficult.
I've been trying to talk with Tyler. but it brings up a lot of the struggles that I have, being
Hmm.
same sex attracted myself.
Hmm.
Um, and so when I'm not at church, where I really feel like I'm getting the boost of the Spirit, where I really feel like my Heavenly Father is like giving me the strength I need,
Right.
I really feel like when I'm at home, I'm not. Um, I don't feel like I'm always like wanting to be alive. It's just like,
Mhm.
why am I still doing this? Why go through all these motions? I just have been dealing with these feelings forever.
Right.
My marriage is not bringing me any comfort when before it used to be kind of pleasant. Now it's just not. I just don't feel like I have a lot of reasons
Sure.
to keep going.
Sure. If I'm understanding you correctly, I mean, you have so many, I mean, unless you're fulfilling this role in your religion as this um, congregation leader, it sounds like, you really struggle to feel meaning for living outside of that area. Am I understanding that correctly?
Yeah.
Oh,
Um, yeah, you are.
okay. You know, as I hear what you're talking about, Adam, I can't help but think of, well, of course you're having these feelings. You have a very you have a very difficult situation in your relationship. I won't sugarcoat it. That's really difficult to deal with being in a relationship, especially, and then you add on to an already challenging relationship. The aspect of your son, Tyler was his name, that came out as gay.
Yeah, Tyler.
Yeah, and then um, if I'm understanding you correctly, Tyler comes out and says, "I have these feelings," and then it it kind of awoken a feeling within yourself because it sounds like you also have had similar feelings of what Tyler is experiencing, and you said the phrase same-sex attraction, um,
Right.
and that's something that you actively resist, and it sounds like you've been resisting that for majority of your life. Am I understanding that correctly?
Yeah, I don't feel like I actively resist it
Okay, okay,
in the sense that like I feel like I just had to bury it and really just
okay.
uh, you know like I don't put myself in situations where I'm around men, especially not gay men.
Mhm.
I go to school, I go to work, I come home, and so in that sense, like I don't feel like I'm like actively um, resisting it, but yeah,
Sure.
it's a part of something that I have to deal with, and
Sure.
as far as my temptations.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you clarifying that. Like you said, it was something that you have to bury. Um, I mean, that I hear that alone, and anytime there is anyone that has felt that they have to bury any part of who they are or anything of what they're feeling, that very more often than not leads to feelings of suicide and not wanting to be alive. And it sounds like that's what's happening with you. And it's all compounded because of everything else that you're dealing with Kat, or sorry, do you call her Kat or Kate, your wife, your
Kate,
spouse?
yeah, Kate,
It's
yeah,
Kate. I apologize for that. Um, you know, you're and then you're struggling to, it sounds like, reconnect with a son that you weren't really connected with. Um,
yeah,
I hear that and I go, well, yeah, that makes sense why you've been having these feelings of death. Can I ask about those for a little bit?
yeah, yeah. I
Okay,
think that that's
sure.
important.
Yeah, I agree. And just so you know, I'm going to be rather direct when we're talking about this. The only reason why I'm going to be direct, and it might be just a little awkward at times, but it's mostly
Sure.
just to get a better idea, to get the best picture of where you're at personally, Adam. Um, not only do you want to help, but I want to help you. And the more information that I have, the better I'll be equipped to suit whatever needs you need, and also to make sure that you're safe as well. That's a big important part of what we do here. Um,
Yeah. Thank you.
so with that being said, how often would you find yourself not really wanting to live or having feelings of not wanting to live?
Uh, lately, like, and when I say lately, I mean probably the last few months.
Mhm.
It's been like, you know, more or less every day.
Okay. So it's a daily thing that it sounds like.
Yeah.
Gosh. Appreciate you sharing that with me. Um, so in throughout the process of a day, on average, you could say it doesn't have to be precise. Would you say that you think about not wanting to live or dying by suicide? Would you say you think about that maybe 10 to like 15 times a day, or what would you say?
No, not that many. I think, and it comes on like at the end of my day
Okay.
when I go home and so I didn't mention this, but Kate and I, we live in separate bedrooms.
Okay.
Um, she has a bedroom upstairs in the main bedroom, and I sleep down in the basement where I've kind of made my own apartment.
Hmm.
So I find as I open the basement door and I go down those basement stairs, it just hits me.
Sure.
Um, and so I don't know, maybe you know each night one or two times, maybe as many as like three or four times a night.
Hmm.
But it tends to be kind of at bedtime. Those are
Gotcha.
hard for me.
Yeah. Well, first of all, thank you for sharing that and being so open about those feelings that you have. There's something really interesting about nighttime that really seems to bring those feelings of wanting our suffering to end. That's a very normal time for anyone to experience those, especially for somebody who has so many things on your plate like you do, Adam. You have a lot going on in your life and a lot of difficult things. Um, so if it's okay, can you think back to the last few times where, those feelings have, as you said, hit you? If you had to rate how intensely that feeling hits you on a scale of like 1 to 10, 10 being like, this is something I need to do right now, and I don't have any other option. One being like, this is something I'm thinking about, but I will absolutely never do it. Where would you place yourself on how intensely you're feeling those feelings when they come?
I mean, they're high. Um, I'd say six or seven.
Okay.
Um, yeah, 6 or 7.
6 or 7, that's pretty intense. And for how long would you say that those feelings sit at about that 6 or 7 number?
I mean, like 6 or 7, like they'll spike. I mean, sometimes I even feel um, like when I'm going, like I said, I open the door and I'm going down to the basement, and
Mm.
these stairs are like my enemy.
Mm.
Like it's just like hopeless. And so I'll get these spikes of like even like 8 or 9, like wanting to fall down the stairs. But I
Okay.
don't think that that would kill me, and I don't really want to get hurt.
Right.
Um, and so then I find like I'll get to my bed and I'll probably sit in these feelings for, I don't know, like 5 minutes, 10 minutes.
Okay.
But then they'll sort of go in waves, 2 or 3 times as I'm in bed.
Gotcha. Well, I appreciate you sharing that with me. What are some things that you've been able to do that have kind of helped those feelings lessen or dissipate?
I read my scriptures. That's a big part of my personal routine as I read and I pray.
Sure.
Um, and so when I feel those feelings really hit me, I'll start to read the Book of Mormon and pray.
And what does praying and reading your Book of Mormon do for you?
Recommit to my. So first of all, I feel the Spirit there.
Okay.
I feel like I get this a little bit of strength, like from the Spirit that
Sure.
gives me the strength to keep going, because so much of it is like I've just I have to endure it.
Hmm.
Everything about life is just this endurance.
Sure.
One of the leading philosophies of my faith is enduring to the end, and
Sure.
yeah,
Okay. Well, I'm glad to hear that. Is it okay if I ask, you said, when you kind of get stuck on, you think about falling down the stairs. Is it okay if I ask about that, real briefly?
yeah, yeah.
Okay. So when you think, so, you're standing at the top of the stairs and those feelings of just such intense despair hit you, you find yourself like going to the stairs to think about falling down, or help me walk me through that time a little bit more and what's going through your head in that time?
Well, I'm finding that as I know the end of the evening is approaching and I'm going to be going downstairs,
Hmm.
I'm getting this like pit in my stomach or this like sharp, kind of like tension in my chest.
Hmm.
And I know that like this is like the hardest part of my day.
Hmm.
And I open up the door and I walk down the stairs and I sometimes I think about like putting things on the stairs, like things that would like make me trip. And so it would be like an accident, you know. And then like it wouldn't really be my fault,
Sure.
because like, oh no, I tripped. But like, I don't know if I can, spiritually reconcile the idea that, you know, I intentionally caused an accident.
Sure.
Yeah.
Do you
But the stairs, go ahead.
no, go ahead. The stairs, what were you saying?
Just, I don't think that they would kill me. And so I wouldn't want to hurt myself. Like I wouldn't want to like, break a bone or hit my head. And then I just have to suffer in a new way,
Hmm.
on top of this other pain.
Do you ever find yourself thinking of other ways that you could hurt yourself? Or that's not the right phrase because you just said very clearly you don't want to hurt yourself. But do you ever find your mind kind of wandering or thinking or maybe even entertaining thoughts about how you could end your life or hurt yourself?
Yeah, I hadn't really gotten into this. Yeah, this is our first meeting. But I'm on a leave of absence, so I've got a month and a half off from work,
Okay.
where I was a high school principal.
Hmm.
I found that I haven't been sleeping well and been really preoccupied with just sort of, I guess, like depression or something.
Hmm.
And so I wasn't focusing well at work. And one of the things that consistently came up was um, like just jerk the steering wheel in my car.
Okay.
But then I was like, I don't want to hurt anybody else, so like I
Sure.
don't want to wreck into somebody.
Hmm.
And I found that there's actually as I approach my school, there's like this downhill off ramp on the
Hmm.
road that would T-bone right into a wall.
Okay.
And I know that I could get going fast enough to finish it there.
Okay. If I'm understanding you correctly, it seems like there have been a couple times that you've thought about maybe intentionally going fast enough where that would be the way that you would end your own life is through that. Am I understanding that correctly?
I know that I could.
Okay.
I know that would do it.
Gotcha.
The stairs wouldn't do it. As much as I hate the stairs I don't think would do it.
Sure, sure.
But then again, I struggle with if I just put my foot down on the accelerator, that's a serious sin in my
Mhm.
in my in my faith in my life
Right.
to kill yourself. And so part of the reason why I wanted to avoid that path to work and take a break from work.
Sure. Well, I'm really, really, really happy that you have, and that speaks such volumes to you, and your like in your self-awareness because being able to recognize that you need to take a break from work is very, very difficult, especially in like our society where, we gotta make ends meet and we gotta work and we can't take time off work for pretty much anything. So I'm really happy to hear that you are at least taking time to kind of get help. Um,
Thanks.
when you find yourself, I'm just trying to think of how I want to say this next question. When you find yourself um like actually thinking about ways to end your life, how many times would you say you find yourself like actually thinking about how to kill yourself? Would you say you think a little bit more like, oh, I'm trying to think of it like 30 times in a week or more? Or, there's 7 days in a week. You say you feel it at least daily. Like, what would you say?
Uh, I'm not sure. I'm not sure how to answer that one. I've become like really fixated on this wall.
Okay.
Um, on the drive to work, and then the stairs. And so there's like these two moments in my day, at the end of my day and at the start of my day, that I
Okay.
see these things that just like are causing me to really feel like, one, hopeless, and then two, like there's the exit.
Gotcha.
And so the once I'm working, like I can stay focused.
Hmm.
And then generally I go right from work to like a church function or
Hmm.
something like that. So like I keep busy throughout the day. So I would say it's probably low, maybe,
Yeah.
maybe not even every single day.
Okay.
There are some days, I guess, where I go down the stairs and I just go, okay, here we are again. And it
Hmm.
doesn't go into the I wish I was dead or I wish I could kill myself.
Sure.
Um, and then obviously I have the weekends where I'm
Hmm.
not driving to work. And then I haven't been to work for about a week now. I've still got 5 weeks left on my leave.
Hmm.
So I've kind of eliminated that as like
Okay.
a daily stressor. So things are feeling a little bit less than they were, but things were getting to the point where, yeah, like I was having these feelings four plus times a day, 5 plus times a
Yeah.
day,
Okay.
and started to really scare myself.
Yeah. Well, I cannot tell you how much courage it takes to not only admit that you're having these thoughts, but to also take the steps to seek out help, like coming in to see a person like me. And um, I really am really happy that you did because I don't think anybody really wants to be feeling this way. But to be quite honest, these are feelings that a lot of people struggle with, Adam. Um, I wish that I could say that you're the first client I've had just today that has kind of described what you're going through, but you're unfortunately not. It's all too common to be feeling these intense feelings of wanting our suffering to end. And I want you to know that I absolutely think that there is some things that we can do, you and I together, that would absolutely help you with these thoughts that you're having. What do you think about that, though?
Yeah, I was surprised actually as you were saying that. I felt like this little wave of hope, and I haven't felt hope in a long time. Just realizing that it just felt like it was just going to keep going, and
Yeah.
it just kept getting worse,
Hmm.
and it just kept happening. And so I was like, this is just it. Um, but to hear you say, that people are going through it, and that there is hope, or I don't think you said hope, but it made me feel hope.
Sure.
For like, yeah, that was nice. It was nice, a little reprieve from like the hopelessness.
And
Yeah, I would like help.
I'm glad to hear you say that. And I also want to make sure that we're being realistic, much like we other kind of chronic illnesses, this is kind of a chronic mental health issue, feeling depression and anxiety, and these things lead us to want to feel relief from those things. But we can't feel like a person who has diabetes is never going to feel complete relief from diabetes, but they can feel peace as they manage it. And that's what I really want to highlight is that you're going to be able to develop the skills where all these feelings you're going to be able to manage on your own. Like there will be a point where you are going to be able to feel peace in your life, and I would really like to be able to help you get to that point. Does that sound good?
Yeah, no, it sounds
Well,
really good.
awesome. Well, I would think I would what I want to do next is kind of meet weekly, kind of moving forward. Is that something you'd be able to do?
Yeah, I can definitely do
Cool.
that.
All right, let's do that
Uh,
moving forward, and then we can kind of talk a little bit more about our next, steps in our next meeting, okay?
yeah, yeah. Thank you so much, Colin.
All right, awesome. I'm looking forward to working with you, Adam. I appreciate you.
Thanks, me too.